Hey everybody, welcome back. I hope you are doing well, or for those of you that are new, my name is Susan. I am a freelance fiction editor specializing in science fiction, fantasy, and romance. This week we are diving back into Michael Hague's 6-stage plot structure with Stage 4, Higher Stakes and Complications. Okay, so now you've pushed your characters to their limit with the point of no return, either making things exponentially worse for them to the point where they cannot ignore what's going on, or you've made things more personal, more urgent, more necessary. With that turning point behind them, as I mentioned, now the only way forward is through. And unfortunately for your characters, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because now we're at the higher stakes and complication stage. So this stage runs from about the 50% mark to the 75% mark. So it's sort of a mirror of the progress stage on the other side of that halfway point. This stage is where they deal with the consequences of what happened in the point of no return, whatever shape that took for you. So whether that means they had to change their goal, dive further into their goal, or just pivot on how they were going to achieve that goal, you now have a new, more dangerous path for them to take as they work towards that end. But like with the progress stage, I think it's easier to plot, plan, review, wherever you're at, such a big section by knowing where you're going first and then filling in the steps in between. So with that in mind, the turning point that you're aiming towards here, that 75% mark, is what Hague terms the major setback. This is known by a variety of names, so the major setback, the third disaster, the culmination, the darkest night, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, this future turning point is where the main characters are going to hit their lowest in trying to reach this goal. Whether it means they failed temporarily, whether a main character died, whether they find that maybe the goal is no longer possible for some reason, whatever works with your story. It's basically the point of no return, but on crack, or times 10. This is the moment they realize where not only can they no longer go back, but they now have everything to lose. So now, knowing your characters and your plot, what might this look like for them? Just sort of a rough idea. Because then knowing that, and knowing where they are at now, just after the point of no return, hopefully that gives you an idea of how to sketch out how they might get there, the journey between those 2 points. And how can you make this section harder, more intense, more urgent, with some wins and some losses to get them to that major setback point. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind. Like with the progress section, this is a pretty hefty chunk of your book, so you want to make sure you're not getting lost in the weeds. You want to make sure you're always moving forward with your plot, upping the stakes at every turn, and continuing to have your characters change, whether grow or regress, making progress on their character arc. But unlike with the progress section, this is where you can start to give your readers some answers. Depending on the structure of your story and what you have as far as subplots and secondary characters, the higher stakes / complications section is made all the more complicated because this is where we as the readers, along with the main character, are either going to start realizing the truth or start buying into the lies that are going to lead us to that major setback turning point. For romances, this is many times where the miscommunication trope is best utilized, or the horrible ex comes back in, bringing in confusion or revelation to the main character depending on how they're set up. For fantasy, this is where you start to get a lot of the answers that start putting the puzzle pieces together to slowly build you to the end. So maybe you start to find out who the traitors are, or you find out what the bad guys really want, or why they had to murder the king. Whatever shape this takes for you in your story, this is really where you put pedal to the metal. This is where things are going to start moving in a fast-paced and fast-forwarding, running towards that end, building the momentum and the tension as the main characters push toward that goal, running face first into that major setback. Hopefully this helps as you start to either write or revise your higher stakes and complications section of your story. Next week's video is going to be focused on writing goals, either reviewing or revising them, since we're already halfway through the year, which I cannot believe. It blows my mind. And then we'll hop back into plot structure the week after, diving in a bit deeper into the major setback turning point and continuing on from there. As always, do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It not only helps the channel, but then you will get alerts when the new videos go up so you don't miss a section. And until next week, keep writing.